Appalachian State into the rankings. They were unranked in the initial outlier, and Kansas State, after the loss to Texas, they fall to 24. What do you see there, Joe?
Yeah, and this is sort of that area where you start to look for that group of 5 team. Who's going to be the highest ranked group of 5 that would play in the Cotton Bowl this season? And it appears that Cincinnati right now would be higher ranked. We don't see them yet from 21 to 25.
That's a good call. Boise State keeps finding ways to win. They're in 21 to 25. Now as we go 20 through 16, there are the Bearcats that Joey mentioned, up 3 spots to 17, just behind Notre Dame. Memphis right on the heels, and Cincinnati, Memphis will figure all of that out in the American. Kirk, what do you see in this group?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, Joey's talking about that group of 5. You know, that could be settled right there. Both those teams, Cincinnati and Memphis, moving up 3 slots to 17 and 18, but sets up for potentially a huge championship game in the American. And
Iowa with a game against Minnesota, so another top 20 opponent for the Gophers when we see them eventually. Let's look at 11 through 15. Michigan at 15, 1 spot behind Wisconsin, and there's Baylor, undefeated. Now, Minnesota has taken a rocket ship up because we haven't seen them yet. Yep. Baylor can do the same thing by beating Oklahoma this week. Primetime game, College Game Day will be there.
I don't know if it's going to be a rocket ship up. They might be able to move a couple spots up, but I think what you see here is important is no Minnesota. To be continued.
If Baylor goes 10-0 and beats Oklahoma, they'll hop the 2-loss teams in front of them. So I think.
They have to.
And Auburn, the most important non-contender in all of college football.
They have ties everywhere.
Everywhere, because they play Georgia and Alabama, who are fighting for the 4th spot in the playoff. They've already beaten Oregon in the last second shot, so Oregon is pulling for them to look as good as they can down the stretch, Auburn and Georgia this weekend. Let's look at the top 10 now. And the Sooners, you know what? Some consistency here. Clemson was penalized because they stopped a 2-point conversion and survived North Carolina. Oklahoma slips a spot probably for the same reason. Happened to them against Iowa State on Saturday night. Sooners get Baylor this weekend. They are at number 10. Penn State tumbles out of the top 4. They go 5 spots down. Herb Street's going, wow, wow. Why? Did you not expect Penn State to go that far down, Kirk?
No, I did. I'm on the edge of my seat seeing where PJ Fleck and the boat's going to end up here. This is great.
Give me number 8.
Penn State, but 8. How high will they go?
There they are. They're at 8.
Yeah, in a game where they dominated. It was a close score at the end, but if you watch the game, the way they played, they absolutely look like a top 10 team that looks like they deserve the respect that they didn't get last week.
You know who you haven't seen yet? Pac-12, right? Let's see number 7.
Yeah.
There's one of them. The Utes. The Utes are still in a fight for the Pac-12 South. They've got UCLA this weekend. That's how odd this division is. UCLA has a losing overall record, and they still control their fate, not destiny, according to Chip Kelly. So UCLA and Utah this weekend at number 7. So the Utes at number 7 in position potentially to make the playoff. So you look at this right now. David, what's the biggest surprise you've had? Are you upset? Because you wanted Minnesota at least a 6.
I think they should have been up there. Yeah. I mean, again, we're taking this week by week. That was an awesome performance. And here's the thing. When I look at Baylor and Minnesota, I can separate the two very easily. Listen, Minnesota's been doing this for a whole month. Minnesota is on the up. You can see them. Tanner Morgan has settled in. He's doing great. He's got an elite group of wide receivers. I think that team has definitely been rising consistently. Baylor's been kind of just flubbing around, triple overtime, Texas Tech, double overtime, TCU. So I think Minnesota.
3 points West Virginia?
3 points West. I mean, it's just been kind of
And I think if Tanner Morgan can duplicate what he did against Penn State, coming into that game, he's completing 65%. He was up and down at times. In that game, 18 of 20, and made
hard to do that every week.
but he made every throw. Offensive game calling was terrific. Now, if they can continue that, they got to do it more than one time, I believe. And so if he can continue that, they'll keep moving up.
All right, before we go top 6, Kirk, what's the biggest thing that jumped out at you, 7 through 25? Anything you saw there so far?
That roar I just heard from the football facility in Minneapolis, the fact that they're up in that top 8 right now and feeling good. Everything is in front of them. Let's not get carried away here. That was a great win against Penn State. They're going to Kinnick Stadium Saturday. Like, they need to just keep their focus right now and just try to win every single week because it's all in front of them. They got Iowa. They got Wisconsin. They could have a Big Ten championship. So they're just fine with that ranking right now. They made a big jump from 17.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, Kirk, right now, this may sound crazy. They can afford a loss. One.
Now,
If they win,
if
they win a close loss, if they win the Big Ten.
Yes.
Okay, let's show the top six.
Yeah, that did sound crazy.
But I'm telling you, let's start at the top because that's where less of the suspense is. LSU, as expected, has moved into the top spot. If you think Ohio State would win the game, that's a reasonable thing to think. But LSU's resume, combined with the weight it has played, most deserving to be at number one.
There's no doubt. And listen, you can use your eye test to say they're really good, but you also use the body work and go, they're also really, really good.
Absolutely. Top two teams going to be LSU. I expect to see Ohio State at number 2, and we do. Buckeyes slip out of that top spot through no fault of their own. LSU went to Alabama and won, and they are rewarded for it. Ohio State's still sitting there
let's
at
get
2.
to 3. Come on.
You know who 3 is. 3 is going to be Clemson.
There we go.
The Tigers are 10-0. They're on their way to the ACC championship game. There is no reasonable way that Clemson could stumble before the playoff.
We thought that against North Carolina also, and they came close to stumbling. Now, Wake Forest, they have this week, who hasn't looked good. They lost last week, so, we don't expect it.
All right. Let's see who number 4 is for the moment.
Let's see when it gets weird.
Number 4 is Georgia. So Georgia hasn't always looked sharp. Great offense has been challenged at times, but the Bulldogs, they've got that. It wasn't the magnitude, but they've got the Ohio State-like loss from the last couple of years on the resume.
Wasn't pretty. Penn State lost a couple of years ago as well. But I think when you look at Georgia, there's 2 really big wins with Florida and Notre Dame. Those are 2 big wins that they're going to get credit for.
And number 5 is Alabama, just behind on the outside. It's going to take a lot of stumbling on the outside for the Crimson Tide to move into that top 4. And if that doesn't happen, this will be the first playoff without Alabama and Oregon. Hey, thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more scores, highlights, and analysis, you can download the ESPN app. You've got the ESPN app, right?
Honestly, on Saturdays for college football fans, if you don't have the ESPN app, that's the lifeline for every college football fan. So you have to have that. The live streaming now, ESPN Plus. To me, it's the only way to go.
ESPN Plus was key for me recently. Got to get ESPN Plus. Arkansas State, Troy, down to the wire.
Loving it.
Superdog winner. Thanks to ESPN Plus.